Hi there, my name's Andrew Brown. Welcome to Real-Time Music and Sound with Pure Data. In this video, we're going to be looking at creating a mixing desk. We'll create a desk similar to this one, but not anywhere near as fully featured. We'll have some sliders for changing the volume and pan position, and a master volume and some effects. The reason that we might want to do that at this stage in our video series is that you've possibly created a number of different PD synthesizers, or you may want to run several instances of the one synthesizer, and it's useful to be able to combine them all together and mix your entire project. In order to have some sounds to mix together, I've created a little patch I'm calling Chirp, which does some fairly simple sine wave manipulations of pitch and audio. I'll play a small section of it for you now. I've decided to use a spectrogram in this video because it's more interestingly showing you the pitch contours of this chirp sound. So that's our noise source. So let's build a mixer. The first thing we'll do is to start with a catch object to grab audio from that patch. So that means over in this patch we'll create a throw object and we'll throw it to a message called channel 1. Spell throw correctly. I'll disconnect the DAC in this chirp patch just so that we know that when we're hearing the sound it's coming through our mixer. So a catch, we'll call this one channel 1 just to get us started. So in order to see that, we might want to put a Vmeter like so. The Vmeter takes in numbers which we can get from an envelope object, which will look at the ongoing amplitude of this input message. I know from experience that the output of this envelope is pretty hot, and so it's very useful to subtract some numbers from it before sending it into the Vmeter. So if we do that and then go back and restart our chirp patch, we can see that we're getting audio signals coming in. We're not hearing it because it's not going to a DAC yet. So a few other niceties, rather than connect this directly, because we want to have a clean visual interface for a mixer, we are going to send this, I might call it VU1. So we're going to send this value to VU1, and then we'll get the properties of this Vmeter and ask it to receive the value VU1. So now if we play the chirp again, we still see that continues to work. Alright, the next thing we would want to do in a mixing desk is to control the level or the volume of this channel. We'll do that with a slider. Get that there. I'll change its properties to visually match the Vmeter a little bit better. That gets height 120, maybe 120 high. Might make it grey just for fun. Okay, so whilst we're here, we'll do some more sending and receiving. What we'll do is we'll get this to send the message level 1, which is coming from that. Actually, I might even give that a title so we know what we're doing. Let's call this channel 1. So then we can position that there as a pair. So this is going to be sending the message channel 1. Let's see that again. sorry, level 1, thank you. So we can receive that message up here, level 1, and make sure that we then control a volume with that value, which will allow us to change the level it's coming in. So if we have our chirp going again, the moment we're getting no level, we turn the channel up and we start to see that there's level coming in. We've obviously got too much. You can see that it's getting very hot, and that's because I didn't change the range. It needs to, of course, go from 0 to 1, because 1 is the maximum volume that we want. Okay, that's much better. Okay. Another thing which I showed in an earlier video on mixing and panning was that a linear change in volume is not all that nice. We prefer like something closer to an exponential one. We can get close to that by using the power function to modulate or map the value that's coming in. So I found that power 2 sounds quite nice. Sometimes power 3 is also a useful value, but you can experiment and see what you like. What that will mean is that we'll get more range down in the lower parts, which means our sort of fade outs and so forth can be more gradual as we fade out down there, and they'll react a little bit more like our hearing does, which is a non-linear. Okay, so we've got the sound coming in. We obviously need for it to go out. Question is, where's it going to go out to? It's going to go out to a master. I'm going to copy and paste this channel configuration over here and repurpose that as our master volume. So let's just say that just sends master volume command, and that should otherwise be okay. And our Vmeter properties can receive VU master. Okay, so what we need to do over here is something quite similar to this. So we will copy and paste this channel strip over here. This is going to catch our master, master volume, and it's going to send out to master. That shouldn't conflict, and this is going to receive the master volume amount. So if this is catching master over here, we need to throw to that master message. So if we do this, that sends it out there. If we turn this up and we turn up the master volume, have we got all our messages right? Possibly not. Let me just double check. Oh, VU master is what that's getting. There we go. So it's going to our first channel, and it's being passed across to our master and going out, which is great. We can also over here perhaps send that to the DAC, just so that we can now at least hear it. For the moment I'll send it to both channels. Alright, so we have a simple mixer now. We could of course duplicate this channel strip as many times as we want, but before we get to that, let's add a few more features. The next feature we'll add is some panning. So I'll put a H slider, horizontal slider here, and we'll check its properties so it sort of visually matches. We'll make its width about 75 and its height 20, make it a similar grey colour, and let's have this send the value pan 1. From 0 up to 1 will be our panning range. So give it a label. Okay, so there's our panner. It's going to send panning data. So we need to be able to pass our signal through a panning object. In a recent video that I mentioned earlier about mixing and panning, we created a panner object. So I'm just going to use that as an abstraction for now. So the panner object, which looks like this as a subpatch, you can check the video out about how it's created. We'll take the input there, and it will take in the value for the panning location from left to right. That can receive pan 1. Just double check that's what I called the send. Yes, pan 1. And as we move that, yep, okay, that works. And then the output is in stereo, left channel and right channel. So we need to do a slight modification to our master output here. I'm going to leave this as a single fader for the master outlet, but we are going to instead do master left and also master right. So let me just copy and paste some of this. So we're going to deal with the two channels separately. Over here we can throw to master left and throw to master right. So the left channel can go there and then the right channel can go here. That means that the left channel will go through there. The right channel will be here, and we'll need to adjust the volume of the right channel as well. So the audio input goes in there. We can make sure our Vmeter is always showing the right amount by summing together the left and the right channels for the purposes of metering. So just grab both of those and then check the metering of that. And our DAC can then take the outputs of either our left channel going into the left and the right channel going into the right. Okay, let's see how we go. We did quite a bit there without checking the audio. Let's hope everything's working okay. If we turn up our master, okay, and if we put our pan in the center, move it to the right, we get it in the right channel, and then the left in the left channel, so we'll leave it in the center. So now we have panning and volume control, and our master is dealing with all of that as well. So one final thing for our channel strip that we'll add is some effects send. This is going to look visually similar to our panning, so we'll copy and paste that, go to the properties and update it. So it's going to be FX1, it's the effects send, otherwise that should be fine. So that's now going to send or create the value for sending to the effects. So we need to grab the signal and be able to pass it on to the effects. So the first thing we'll do is add another throw command, and that will throw to our effects, and we need to be able to change the level of what we send to the effects. So we've got an amplifier there, and that's going to take this input value, but we also need to be able to adjust the level that we send to the effects. We'll do that with this number box, which will take in the messages from FX1. Let's just make sure that's all working. Yep, so our effects send is going here, changing that volume and going to throw effects. At the moment that throw is going nowhere, so what we need to do is to pick it up over in some other part of our thing. I'm just creating some space for myself to put an effects return in here. So we can catch that effects send over here, and we can send it to one of the built-in reverbs in PD. The arguments that are required for that. Oh, sorry, Rev2 is the one I'm using. Which has got mono in and stereo out, given that we're operating in stereo over here. So that will send this to our reverb, and we'll want to be able to adjust the volume of the reverb, so the amount of reverb that's coming out, and it is in stereo, so we'll create two of those. Both the left and the right will need to be modified. So we'll need a number box to adjust the effects level, and this number box is going to need to be sent a value from sort of an effects slider, or effects level slider. So we'll use this channel, which we should have relabeled. Let me do that while I'm thinking about it. That actually needs to be relabeled master volume, and this can be relabeled effects return, and it will send the symbol, let's call it FX value. Okay, so that means that this number box here will pick up on that symbol, FX value. Is that what I called it? I always have trouble remembering. FX val. Okay. Properties. FX val. Okay. Cool. So now we've got our effects coming in. It's going through a reverb. We're adjusting the amount of that, and that effects output will be thrown to the master left and right channels, so they'll be mixed together with our original signal. Okay, so if we turn our effects send up, we can now hear that we have reverb being added. We can reduce that reverb by turning down the return, or we can also turn it down by turning down the send. Either of those will work fine. So effectively this is pretty much the guts of our mixing desk. I might do a little bit of tidy up. Might create some sub patches to hold this information here. So it's basically the same, but just makes it look a little neater. After we do that, we need to reset all of these values. Then we'll do a similar thing to clean up our effects. paste that in there. Okay, that's all good. I might just position that near our effects return. And finally, if we create a subpatch for our master, grab all of that information, paste it in there, and that should be fine. Again, we'll need to send these values once we paste them in. So now we have, as we can see, move that all up there. So we have our one channel and then to our effects and return. So the process for creating a second input will be to simply copy one of our channel strips, our first channel strip, and make everything here be channel 2 instead of channel 1. So if we open up this subpatch, change everything that's required. So we'll change the message to channel 2, change that message to level 2, and is that all? No, and then to VU2. I think that should be fine for that. Then the properties of that needs to go to FX2. Panning needs to go to Pan2. Channel strip needs to be called channel 2, needs to send to level 2, and our VU meter needs to receive VU2 instead of VU1. Okay, so you can see now channel 2 is not responding when channel 1 does, so it's operating independently. So in order to get another sound source, I will open up another instance of the chirp patch and modify it like I did the other one by disconnecting the direct DAC and throwing it to channel 2. And start it, CH2. There we go. So there's our second thing coming in. We can pan one to the left, one to the right, and we'll get our chirps in stereo. Our master volume controls the entire thing, and our effects return controls the effects overall. So the process of creating more channels is just a copy and paste, just like we did before. I'll leave that as an exercise to you, and I'll see you in another video.